Welcome to Answering the Call, the official podcast of the 12th Man Foundation. Our show brings you closer to the heart of Texas A&M athletics through powerful stories of perseverance, purpose, and life-changing opportunities made possible by 12th Man Foundation donors. From student athletes and coaches to former students and dedicated staff, you'll hear firsthand how donor support shapes the lives of Aggie student athletes in competition and beyond. Whether you're a lifelong Aggie or simply curious about what makes Texas A&M so special, you're in the right place. Let's dive into today's episode. Howdy, and welcome back to another episode of Answering the Call podcast, the official podcast of the 12th Man Foundation. This is your host, Ivy Robinson, and today I am sitting in studio with Aggie Football student athlete, EJ Smith. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today, EJ.
Hello, it was great to be here.
We're excited that you're here. And EJ, I start this podcast off with the fun question I like to ask every single athlete and some coaches this as well. What is a unique fact about yourself that you think not many people know?
What is a unique fact about myself that people do not know? I would say I have the same birthday as my dad. I don't know if a lot of people know that. So
I did not know that. That's crazy. What's the birthday?
May 15th.
May 15th.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Yeah, Ray Lewis's birthday is on that day as well. There's a lot of great people who've been born on May 15th. So
that is awesome.
Yeah.
That's really, really neat. Like, what are chances of that are so slim. Yeah.
I don't know if my pop planned it or not, but hey, I'm still grateful for it. So.
Well, speaking of your dad, I know many of our listeners know him very well. If we have some Cowboys fans, they'll know that your dad is Emmitt Smith. But that was one of my questions. I wanted to just ask you about your family. Tell us about your family, and you're from Dallas, Texas, which tells me you may have attended a few Dallas Cowboys games growing up, just a few here and there. But tell us about your family and what your childhood was like growing up in Dallas.
I had a blessed childhood. I mean, I had both my parents in my life. I have 4 siblings. Yeah, I mean, it was a great experience, obviously, being able to have the parents that I had. My mom was very supportive. My dad was also very supportive as well. But I learned a lot, from both of them. I would say that my siblings and I have 3 sisters, and I have a little brother. And, we've always just been close. We've always supported each other no matter what we did. I would say my influence within my family has been my older sister in terms of just the education aspect of, going to school, being able to get good grades, just continuing to learn and stuff of that nature. And then my second older sister, she actually went to A&M. She played soccer here, so she was the other athlete in the family. And so just looking up to her, seeing how hard she worked to become a student athlete as well was also inspiring to me to do the things that I've been able to do. And my little sister, she's always just been, like a twin to me. She always supports me, always has my back, no matter the circumstances. And so, we've always been close in terms of that sense. And then my little brother, he's the creative child. So he kind of goes, in the opposite path of everybody else just because he's kind of hard-headed in that way. But, just seeing how he's motivated to do the things that he does as well has always impacted me just to, stay on the path that I want to stay on and, continue to do the things I want to do. So,
that's awesome.
I have a great family. I'm blessed.
It sounds like it. Thank you for sharing that. Obviously, I didn't do my research well enough. I didn't know your sister was a student athlete here.
Yeah. She played soccer here.
What years?
2016 to 2021, I believe.
Oh my gosh. That's when I was a student here.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a very random rabbit trail, like up on the side. But I think your sister was in the same graduation ceremony as me, like when I graduated from Texas A&M with my master's degree.
Okay.
Because my parents they were in Reed Arena. This, of course, this would have been
2022, 2021.
Did she graduate in 21?
Yeah, around there.
It was 21.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't COVID, but we were still like in COVID era times. And so we were sitting like spread apart in Reed Arena, like we were socially distanced.
Yeah.
But my parents like looked over and they recognized your dad and they were like, wait a minute, is that Emmitt Smith? And then they put it together later because I think he had posted on social media that his daughter had graduated. So
I was there.
That's so cool.
That was a very long ceremony.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
took a nap in that. I don't know if I
Those
should be saying that right now, but I definitely fell asleep in that ceremony for sure.
I mean, they are very, very long ceremonies,
Yeah.
yes. I was personally sad because we didn't get to do saw him off do the war
Uh-huh.
hymn, but I was just thankful that I got a Reed Arena graduation because my undergraduate graduation was canceled because that was in 2020.
That's crazy.
So they did the makeup one in Kyle.
Yeah.
So
I'll be able to get that experience soon. I graduate in December, so I'm excited for that.
yeah. Okay, tell me about what you're studying at Texas A&M. And obviously, we'll get into this a little bit later, but you played 4 seasons at Stanford, got your undergrad degree at Stanford. What did you get your degree in?
Innovation organization.
Awesome.
It's like a business entrepreneurship. I was really able to, pick a lot of classes I really wanted to learn more about. So a lot of things I learned within that program was dealt around business. On top of that, a little bit of AI, kind of the politics behind AI, some of the ethical things about AI and stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting on how everybody's starting to get to know about that stuff now. But here, getting my master's in real estate. And so I graduated in December, like I said, and it's been a great program so far. So.
What made you choose that career path when you were at Stanford, and why did you choose real estate for here at Texas A&M?
I would say I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and so I thought that major tailored to some of the things that I really wanted to do. At that time, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and so that really let me kind of navigate and figure out, see what classes I like, see what classes I didn't like, and so that's what I really appreciated about, Stanford, because they let you do that a lot there. Why did I try or join the Masters of Real Estate program here? Honestly, I wanted it to be pushed. I knew it was one of the top programs in the country and on campus, and so that's really what made me gravitate to that area. And on top of that, too, I was always interested in real estate. There's a lot of mentors that I had back at Stanford that were within commercial real estate, and so I really wanted to try it out and see if I liked it or not. And so when the opportunity came for me to transfer over here, I was looking at master's programs, didn't really know what I wanted to do, and saw the MRE program. I was like, I like it. Let's see what it's about, and I'm here now. So
yeah, so it sounded like a good fit.
Yeah. I love my cohort, and I was really supposed to graduate in the spring, but I decided to come back for another year, and so I wanted to extend my master's, and so it's great to be a part of the program for another semester. So
who were some of those mentors you mentioned back at Stanford who really kind of pushed you? And
I would say the biggest one would be Mark Brandon. He was actually my donor when I was at Stanford. And so he really welcomed me with open arms. Anytime I had the chance to really talk to him about investing and stuff of that nature, he was really there for me. There's a couple other people too as well that I just can't remember, but they all impacted me in a way that kind of navigated me to, real estate and, more entrepreneur ventures as well. So very grateful for them.
Very, very neat.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of donors, this podcast is the official podcast of the 12-Man Foundation. We have many 12-Man Foundation donors and Aggie football season ticket holders and other sports season ticket holders who listen to this show weekly. And I'm curious, EJ, what would be your message in terms of gratitude towards those individuals who give back to support student athletes like yourself to get a great education and to continue the sport that they love and have a great career beyond?
I would say thank you for sure, because, without them, I wouldn't be able to do the things I'm doing here right now. On top of that, I would love to continue to grow a relationship with, as many people as I can while I'm here. And I would say that we, as athletes, do appreciate when, we see donors and actually get a chance to talk to them as well. So just kind of being around us a little bit more. And then I'll say the last thing, just continue to show support, show love, because we definitely feel it. And, it's a great feeling to have to know that there's support behind us every day.
Have you experienced a really neat interaction with donors or supporters here recently, like maybe at 12-Man Foundation event, or have you had the opportunity to make a impactful connection with?
I would definitely say there's one person, Dan Tinker. I knew him prior to me coming down here to A&M, just through the relationship that he has with my father, but actually got a chance to, work with him during spring break for a little bit at SRS and kind of learning some of the IT stuff behind, the business and, being able to learn the sales aspect of, being able to cater to your client and, giving them the needs that they need to have in order for them to be successful as well. So being open to those opportunities, is a
Mhm.
blessing. And
Mhm.
so I really appreciate Dan for doing that as well. And, just being a resource as well. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. That
mhm.
is incredible, and I think that's something a lot of people maybe don't really think about is the support that 12 Man Foundation donors and individuals like Dan, and they're not only are they giving back financially to
Yeah.
help provide opportunities like for resources and scholarships for student athletes, but they're also offering their connections, their network, and they wanna help y'all succeed, like, in
Yeah.
careers,
I
even
was
outside of sport, which is
Yeah. I would even say, like, it's even, even besides, like, the money, I think the biggest thing is just also, being able to share their wisdom. I think
Mhm,
that's the most important thing as well because, at the time that you're a student athlete, you're always focused on, school and football and
mhm.
not really trying to figure out, what else is out there for you. And so just being able to have the resources that I do have and that's open here at A&M, is very important. Just being able to go and reach out to them to see, ask questions, get their opinions on certain things. And I also say too, like my professors, like Dan Leverett, Professor Banks, Bucky Banks. I mean, there's so many. Professor Ramser. There's just so many professors here that always, have the door open to continue to seek wisdom, like I said earlier. And so
Mhm.
it's definitely a village here
Yeah.
that you could definitely, seek information from.
Well, speaking of seeking wisdom, I wanna know this personal question. What's the best piece of football advice you have ever received from your father?
Let the mind control the body and not the body control the mind. I would
Wow.
say it's the biggest advice my father's given me. When you play the sport of football, there's going to be times when you feel pain, and just being able to overcome that pain is the most important thing,
Mhm.
when being an athlete. And then I would say also, the game is 90% mental and 10% physical as well. So, knowing the things that you have to know, when you're out
Mhm.
on the field and also having the self confidence to be able to execute, and play to your best ability as well is important. So those are the two.
Man, that's powerful. It reminds me of something Datwin said on this very show too. He talked about when he was at Texas A&M, he would or he had a coach, I think, in high school who taught him the power of visualizing, like
Mhm.
seeing yourself successfully making the tackle or
Yeah.
successfully catching the pass or kind of visualizing that before the game even starts to when the game does start, you're already like quick to respond. You're already
Mhm.
there. You've already seen it. You've already told yourself that you're going to do something
Yeah.
successfully. So it kind of reminds me of that. Okay, I'm going to go back a little bit because we kind of jumped into your story and like the here and now, but I have a few more questions about just your background. So
Mhm.
tell me about you went to Jesuit
Yeah.
College Preparatory School of Dallas. Tell me about like your specific high school experiences when you first started playing sports,
Mhm.
football, how you got into the game, and then maybe any other extracurriculars you were involved in high school.
I'll start with my football career. So, I mean, I've always been around sports since I was a child. Golf was my first sport when I started playing when I was like, I think 3. I'm always like good at visual learning. So, my pops took me out one time to watch him play golf. Long story short, when he came back from practice one time, I, dragged him to the family room and showed him a golf swing. And then he started playing,
Wow.
then he
Yeah.
started putting me in the golf. Golf was a little too boring for me, I have ADHD, so I always wanted to do other things as well. So then started gravitating to football. Obviously, I was kind of already, well skilled in that area, blessed to do so. And so when I was about the age of 9 years old, my pops finally put me into football. Thought I was ready and took a year off from football, played baseball, ran track, played basketball, did so many other sports. And you know, started to miss the game and then ended up coming back during middle school. And then that's kind of where everything started taking off. Started to become more focused in football. And that kind of takes me into my Jesuit journey as well. Wanted to go to a school that would push me in terms of in the classroom and on the football field. Jesuit's the only school in Texas, private school in Texas that plays public schools other than Straight Jesuit
Mm,
in Houston.
did not know that.
Yeah, and so I was gonna be able to, be on a platform that will be able to, showcase my skills. And I would say my freshman year, my freshman coach asked me, he was like, "What colleges do you want to go to?" And I told him I want to go to University of Florida at the time. And
So
he
that's
was,
where
yeah,
your dad went.
that's where my dad went. And I also was, I'm kind of still am till we play him, but like a Florida fan. And just because it's in my blood, my whole family loves Florida and all that kind of stuff. But he was like, "You know what? All right, cool. I'm also going to send your tape to Stanford as well." I didn't really know much about Stanford other than Christian McCaffrey at the time. And so that was interesting, and it kind of planted the seed for me to, think about that as well.
Yeah.
I never really thought about going to Stanford. I always thought about, staying in the SEC,
Right.
and playing football. And so that was kind of interesting and cool thing to think about now, where my journey is now and stuff like that. So
What else did the school or, the community there, teachers, how do you think it literally prepped you as a preparatory school for college? Yeah.
I mean, school was difficult. It was very difficult for me because I went to a Montessori school before I went to Jesuit. So I went to Shelton first, which is for people who have learning differences and stuff of that nature. And so, people were questioning if I was even going to be able to survive at Jesuit. And so when I got to Jesuit, it was, I would say, a big learning curve for me in terms of, I guess, the workload. And so I managed it pretty well. I would say that I appreciate the teachers that I did have because they helped me throughout that process as well. I mean, it was a great experience though. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it was all boys school, so like, guys are just hitting puberty, so there's a whole lot of stuff that's going on that, they had the control and stuff like that. And just being around those guys every day, when I think back to it, it was a great time.
Yeah.
Great experience.
How have you overcome, like you said, you have ADHD. How have you gotten through that in terms of academics, or, how has it impacted you personally? And I mean, maybe somebody's listening right now who has the very same thing. Like, how has that challenge helped you become an even stronger individual? And what have you learned about yourself through it?
I mean, honestly, I never saw it as a challenge. I always saw it as an opportunity. And for me, it was just something that I needed to learn how to navigate through. It was never seen as an obstacle to me. I would say that a lot of things that helped me out throughout the process was just me knowing, the goals that I wanted to achieve. And it was always around education and football. And so, I just knew I needed to work harder. I wasn't always the smartest person, but I always worked the hardest. And so I just knew that would take me further along than just, having book smarts. And so just continuing just to figure out how I could better my education and better myself throughout the process was the biggest thing for me. And just having the resources that I had, it was just very, I was very grateful to have that at the time. And just knowing what I needed to get done and get it done, that was really the biggest thing, no matter how long it really took. If it took somebody 1 hour, it always take me 2 hours. And I always knew that. And so I always just put in more time, to hone in on my studies and stuff of that nature. So, yeah.
Going back to Stanford, when you got the offer, what was going through your mind? Like when you officially made the decision, I'm going to Stanford to continue my football career. Like, this is a big change.
I mean, it was definitely not that easy. I would say that throughout the process, and not a lot of people even know this either, is I actually committed to Texas A&M, silently committed to Texas A&M the week before signing day.
Really?
And something, came upon me to, change that decision and actually go to Stanford the night before signing day. And so throughout that process, it was last minute. My parents, my family didn't know decision I was going to make that next day. And so when I actually made the decision, I prayed about it the night before and knew that, it was the best decision for me to make. Having that foundation there at Stanford, I knew that as an athlete, I'll be able to be successful. And then as a student, I'll be able to be successful as well. And so that's why I thought that place would be a good fit for me.
Going back to like your family, and y'all are a big Florida family, but I'm curious, why did, your sister coming to Texas A&M, was there anyone like in your circles, in your family circle, that told y'all about Texas A&M? Like, hey, I know y'all are Florida fans, but what drew her to Texas A&M? And then like your interest to Texas A&M since you silently committed. But
Yeah.
I'm curious what the connection to this university is.
Honestly, for me, it was my sister.
Mhm.
You know, for her, I do not know. My pops has always been the person who has influenced us to, you know, build our own legacy
Mhm.
and take our own path.
Yep.
And so that was the biggest thing for us. And that's the main reason why I didn't go to Florida. And so, I mean, with A&M, I mean, it's the culture. It was the people here. My sister, obviously, she had a great time here and she loved it. And so I was able to see that and see how much it impacted her in her life. And so just being around here in the community here is, you know, it's uplifting. And so you don't really get that, you know, anywhere else for real. And so
Yeah.
that's what I appreciate the most about, you know, A&M.
That's awesome. It is indeed a special place here in Aggieland, the people and just what this university stands for, our core values, and couldn't agree more there. All right, let's talk a little bit about, you know, you got to Stanford in 2020 during COVID, so you were able to take a COVID year because of that, correct? And then your junior season, you took a medical red shirt, correct? So that's why you've been able to come and continue for 2 more years here at Texas A&M. But tell us about, you know, the first season being a part of the Aggie football program. We're in the maroon and white for the very first time, getting to be a part of Mike Elko's program. Like, tell us about what was going through your mind, how excited you were to continue building your legacy here at Texas A&M.
Man, I was very excited. I knew Coach Elko's background. I knew what he did at Duke, and I also knew what he did here as well, because he was still coaching here when I was getting recruited by A&M in high school. And so knowing his background, I knew that this would be a good spot for me to be at, because he understood my circumstances and the things that I wanted to achieve as well. And so, I mean, putting on that uniform for the first time, being in Cal Field for the first time, it was like, yeah, this is what football's about. Like hearing the crowd screaming, you know, listening to Power, you know, everything of that nature. It was a great experience, I would say, and it still is a great experience. And so I'm just, you know, being present, enjoying every opportunity that I have to wear that uniform, you know, walk around campus and just do things that, you know, a lot of people, you know, wish they could do. So.
You know, your debut was last year against Notre Dame, and then this year, how did it feel going into South Bend and getting that win? Tell us about your perspective of that game and like that final 4th down with 19 seconds left in the game. What was your general perspective and like what was going through your mind?
I mean, throughout the whole game, I had the confidence that we were going to win the game. I mean, Coach Elko puts us in those situations all the time, and so that's what we're used to. And so being in that situation, it was like wow, like we've been in this position so many times to the point where it doesn't even faze me. And so just being out there, being able to beat them in South Bend, you know, was a great experience, because actually the other time that I being Notre Dame was when I was at Stanford, and it was when they were in South Bend. But I was hurt during that time, and so I didn't get to travel. And I actually had surgery that week, so I was watching the game in the bed. And so being able to be in South Bend and win like we won, it was a great experience for sure.
Man, yeah. When I think about that game, y'all rose to the occasion and y'all were relentless. And I like what you said there, that you felt like Elko had already prepared y'all for moments and situations like that to power through. And literally it was so back and forth that entire game. But y'all stayed cool, y'all stayed calm, collected, focused, and got the job done. Congrats to y'all on that big win, big road game win that everybody will still be celebrating for the entire rest of the season. What do you think so far, looking back your time at Texas A&M, what are some moments or games that have really stood out to you in terms of maybe big moments, or like big moments on the field, or maybe something special that happened off the field or on the sideline, like with a teammate or with a fan? Like, what stands out to you in terms of your career so far here at A&M?
I would say LSU last year was a great experience, great atmosphere. The way that we were able to persevere, kind of similar to how we did in Notre Dame. That was a great memory of mine. I would say another great memory of mine was me scoring my first touchdown as an A&M athlete against UTSA. Just coming back to the sideline, getting hugs, from Toyin York, just getting celebrated, by a bunch of my teammates, was a great feeling to have because I haven't been in the end zone for a long time. And so just kind of being present in that, in that
Yeah.
stance. Because, there's not a lot of times when you get a chance to score a touchdown. And so,
Right.
yeah, I would say those two things, those two games.
What are some, you mentioned Tori Nork, but are there any other teammates you think that have really influenced you here at Texas A&M and made you a better player?
I would say the whole running back room, the stable, and that's what we call ourselves. They've pushed me into a whole different element that I haven't been pushed in a long time. And so, having those guys in the room every day, learning from their mistakes and also learning from my own mistakes, asking them questions about what I should have done here, what I should have done there, what is the best reads and stuff of that nature has helped me become a better running back. So just being around those guys, being around the environment in the locker room has helped me elevate my game into a whole nother level. So I appreciate them for that.
That's awesome. I like the stable. That's pretty.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. The stable. I like it. Who do you think, this is random, who do you think is the funniest person in the locker room right now?
Funniest person?
And is there a moment you can share
room?
to back up here?
I don't know if I'll be able to share the stories. But there's a bunch. I would say T-Jazz, Will Lee. There's always a Dayon. There's like one person in each room that just cracks me up every time. I would say Jonah Wilson. He's a transfer from Houston. Who else? I think those are Reuben Owens.
Oh, really? Reuben?
Yeah, Rube's a clown. He's one of the funniest guys on the team. His energy, lights up the room. He just, some of his mannerisms, stuff of that nature. He knows how to make people laugh. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
How would you describe the Aggie football program and the culture? How does it compare? How does the Aggie football program compare to other programs, you think, across the country? Like what sets this program apart in your mind?
I'll say the community for sure. In terms of, people who are within the program and also outside the program, I would say. I think that something that hindered us a little bit at Stanford was kind of the resources a little bit. Here, I mean, everything's, at your, disposal, and also just kind of the support network. No matter if we're losing, there's always going to be Aggies in that stadium. That's something that wasn't really there too much at Stanford. I appreciate that. Like, I love my experience there and stuff, but that's just the difference between the two. But yeah, I would definitely say kind of like the support system here for sure.
You mentioned the resources that y'all are just able to utilize and y'all have an abundance of here at Texas A&M. Tell us about some of the student athlete resources that have really made a difference for you.
I would say the biggest thing for me here is the nutrition. That's helped me a lot in terms of gaining muscle mass, in terms of getting healthy again. I had a history at Stanford of being hurt all the time. And so when I came here, I was hurt, but just being able to get back and bounce back from it was way quicker. How they kind of tailor to your needs in terms of what you really need within your body and actually, giving us the things that we need on a day-to-day when it comes to vitamins, protein, and just stuff in the cafeteria as well.
That's awesome that they get down to that level here. I didn't even realize that do y'all work with trainers that or sports medicine specialists? It's probably not the correct term, but that really say, hey, maybe you're deficient in this area, so we're going to really give you these vitamins or these supplements, or we want you to boost your protein for this reason. That's what y'all work through on a weekly basis, day-to-day basis?
I would say maybe seasonal. So we do a lot of blood testing, DEXA scans, which is it tests your body mass, muscle versus body fat. And so off of those metrics or measurements, then they're able to give you what you need in order to help improve, your deficiencies. So
and just to echo what you said, we just can't thank those who support and give back enough to actually provide these resources and these opportunities and things that are going to help y'all better yourselves as an individual and as an athlete. And a student in the classroom.
Yeah.
To wrap up, I've got 2 more questions. Actually, 3 more. Sorry, 3 more for you today. What's one lesson you think football has taught you that you think everyone, athlete or not, could apply to their daily life?
I would say perseverance for sure. Football really teaches you how to really think internally on the things that you need to work on in order to get better the next day. I think we live in a world where we expect to have things right away. And football really teaches you how to just stay present and just focusing on the daily grinds of things and know that the outcome is there and that every step that you take, to better yourself and the better your situation will come. And I think that's what football has taught me. So
That's awesome. That's incredible. And why are you specifically proud to be an Aggie and be a part of this community now?
I wouldn't say proud. I would go back to I'm grateful to be an Aggie because a lot of people from the outside don't really know what's here in the inside of Texas A&M. I would say going back to the people. The people is what makes Aggieland. Without the people, there wouldn't be any Aggieland or the 12th man. So I feel like just the experience that I got here in terms of helping your neighbor out, being open to, to push each other, to reach their fullest potential is something that I really have seen come into fruition every day in the classroom and on the football field. And it's not that I didn't get that at Stanford at all. It's just I see it more here on a day-to-day basis and stuff of that nature. And, just people just out of the blue just coming to help me out, just asking, hey, do you need anything? Do you want to do certain stuff? What do you like to do? How can I help you do that? That's just the biggest difference, I would say. And so just being a part of that, it's a true family and everybody wants to see each other be great. And so that's what I appreciate the most. And I'm grateful to be, why I am grateful to be an Aggie. So,
yeah. Staying on that note of being grateful and just the generosity and the support you've experienced here at Texas A&M, do you think that's impacted your personal life and how you want to live and maybe eventually give back and impact others?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's impacting me to do it. I would say I've always had that in me. And so just to continue to further doing it, I would say. I mean, I think that's the reason why I am an Aggie is because of those values that I do have. And so just continue to just show that, every day, figure out who I can help and actually do it. And so, yeah.
Yeah. And final question for you. Tell us about your goals for the rest of your college career and then beyond. Where do you see yourself headed in this life?
Man, I mean, I definitely want to bring a national championship to Texas A&M. With these last couple of months that I do have as being a student athlete, I definitely want to do that and leave a legacy here. In terms of after college, continue to play football. Every day isn't promised, when it comes to the game of football and in life. So just continue to do the things I want to do. And on top of that, just, take action in some of the entrepreneur ventures that I have planned for me. So
thanks for sharing that. And I know you're going to accomplish great things in this life, EJ. EJ Smith on Answering the Call podcast. EJ, thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of Answering the Call. If you're enjoying this show, please rate and follow us on your podcast streaming platform of choice so you can be the first to know when a new episode drops. As always, a big thank you to our incredible podcast producer, Megan Rohde, the 12 Man Productions, and Texas A&M Athletics NIL Department. We also extend our heartfelt gratitude to every donor and season ticket holder for always answering the call through loyal support of Texas A&M Athletics and our student athletes. We will be back soon with more content. Thanks and gig 'em.